right, my ladies, here we go. Round 2 of pageant prep questions that I promised that I would get answered so that you all can have an outstanding prep. So if you've watched part 1, here we go with part 2. This will be about 20 minutes long, and I hope to answer maybe 3 to 5 questions here for you ladies. So the question I'm answering today is, what are some things you can do to make your interview stand out to the judges? So the first thing that I would say is be yourself, which we've talked about that on more than one occasion in workshops. And how do you be yourself, the most natural version of you? You will stand out to the judges when you are authentically you. And we must have what I teach is the 6 elements of the relaxed presence. So in order to just be yourself, which when you're in a high pressure environment like pageant, if we are unable to relax, that means that we don't have the right mindset. And it also means that we're probably making the 3 mistakes that most women make when they get into the competitive environment. So we have to relax. We have to be the most authentic and unique and natural version of yourself. And you can stand out if you can find your personality. If you can share your personality, your natural spontaneity with the judges during the course of your interview, excellent. Excellent. If you're having a good time, they're going to be having a good time. And I can promise you, you are going to be the same regardless of which 5 people you end up standing in front of. You will always be you. And it's your job to help lead the judges through a conversation of topics that you want them to hear about so that they can get to know you quickly and easily. Now, if you're all wrapped up in what are they going to ask me, you're putting pressure on yourself, you're worried about whether or not they're going to like you, what do they think about you, how do they think you should answer, you are not going to be genuinely and authentically yourself. So if you want to stand out in an interview, be the most authentic version of yourself, relax, put the focus and attention on your judges, take it off of yourself, recognize this is a conversation and not an interrogation, and enjoy getting to know your judges and allow them to enjoy getting to know you, which means allowing your personality to rise during the course of the conversation. Okay, moving on. That's some things you can do to help yourself stand out in interview. How can you present yourself in a way not to seem nervous? So this kind of goes along with the ums and the uhs and the stuttering, right? If you're nervous, you may hear that in your voice. The adrenaline may have you speaking more rapidly perhaps than you normally would, to the point where you're starting to feel a bit breathless. And so again, the most important thing to do is breathe. Breathe. Recognize that you're in command and control of the pacing of the conversation. If you're not moving fast, the judges aren't going to move fast. They're going to match your pace. And so typically we see that when we are getting a contestant in an interview who's more advanced, more mature, maybe has a little bit more experience, and is more competent to move rapidly. She thinks rapidly, she reacts rapidly, she speaks rapidly. The judges will pick up on that and they'll move with you. So if for some reason you feel like you're getting a nervousness in your voice, or you're moving too fast in your speaking, you're starting to feel a little bit breathless, you might seem a bit nervous, ground yourself behind the podium, plant your feet comfortably so that you can shift your weight back and forth in between your feet, lean in and listen to your judges, and react to the topics that they give you, and enjoy the conversation. That's and again, of course, mindset, right? So if we're checking in with our mindset in advance, then we've already contexted this conversation from the foresight of knowing that everything that transpires inside the interview room is predicated off of your leadership and your ability to see yourself in the job. So if you have the big picture in place, which is one of the things that we talked about as part of the relaxed presence, is that you know what you're going to do with the job for the year, your goals are clearly defined, and you're capable of thinking about this opportunity like a businesswoman. And because of that, now you can stand before your judges in a very relaxed manner and just share with them naturally about who you are, what you're all about, how you would do the job of Miss Title Holder, what you know about the world around you, what you think about it, and respond and react to the topics that they bring up during the course of conversation, sharing all about yourself in a very natural way. Okay, so if you're nervous, it means probably that we've done something wrong before we walked into the interview, or we've had maybe something come up during the course of interview that might have thrown us a little off kilter, and then we just identify what that might be, and then we adjust accordingly. So, there's been times where a judge's chairperson has forgotten to stop the clock, and so they restart the interview. Oh, okay, that's a little awkward for everybody, so we just acknowledge it, and then we go think to ourselves, well, gosh, this is kind of an advantage for me. We get to restart, they get to see more of me. So, that can be a benefit, right? We just allow things to roll off our back. We're gracious, we're flexible, and we're not going to get caught up in the things that are outside of our control. We're not going to put pressure on ourselves. We're not going to worry about the judgments that other people are making on us, including the judges. So if we're feeling nervousness, it means that one of those things have probably come up, and now we're getting a bit hyper-focused on that, and we just need to let it go. We just let it go. And how do we do that? We just shift our mindset. We get it back to where it needs to be so that we can get back on track, and our leadership and our commanding presence can be reestablished at the front of the interview room. Okay, moving on. Next question. Let's see. What is something you always do or tell your clients to do to calm nerves right before stepping into the interview room? I was a pacer. I had to move. I like to walk back and forth and back and forth and back and forth before interview to help release any energy that I had pent up that would perhaps translate in other ways through my body. And so I would just walk. I would just move. I would also shake my hands. And then, because that's just part of having that adrenaline pumping, is you need a release for it, right? So I found movement to be helpful. Some people enjoy more breathing techniques, and so they'll work on deep breathing, or just, breathing in to a count of 3, holding it at the top for a count of 2, breathing it back out for another count of 3, and doing that maybe 5 or 10 times, and just kind of finding your zen. Other people like to have a mantra before they step inside of the interview room, and so they just repeat to themselves over and over again. I don't know, you guys are probably too old for Jack Candy on Saturday Night Live. Oh no, it wasn't Jack Candy. Who was it? That was Deep Thoughts. There was another guy who was on set. I forget what they called him. I forget what his character's name was. But he said things like, I'm smart, I'm likable, no, I'm smart, I'm funny, and doggone it, people like me. And so, you just need a little mantra, something like that. I'm smart, I'm funny, and doggone it, people like me. Whatever that is for you, right? And I'm kind of making light about that, but it should be light and it should be fun, because you know whether or not you're ready for the job. If you've done the preparation, I'm working with a couple of state title holders who are getting ready to go to national right now, and that was one of the things that I just spoke to a young lady about yesterday, as we had the conversation, do you want to be the national title holder? Because in some instances, you don't want to. You have other things, you women have other things going on in your lives, and maybe it would just be a huge inconvenience in terms of your life and career plans if you were to win a national title. And so maybe you're going for the networking experiences and the opportunities and all of the other scholarship options that are available for you to apply for or to earn, just as a result of showing up and participating. And so it doesn't always have to be about winning. It can be about, and that's where we think like a businesswoman. You know, I don't need to be number 1. I could be number 3. I could be number 10. I could be number 15. It doesn't really matter. Am I ready to do the job? Am I capable of doing the job? And you will forecast that non-verbally to your judges in the way that you carry yourself. Okay, so I've gone on that long enough. So that was calming yourself before you step into the interview room. All right, do judges look for a more professional interview, or are they okay with a more conversation-like interview? Ladies, no one wants you to conduct yourself like a 50-year-old news anchor, okay? Nobody. We want you to be age appropriate, and we want you to be capable of expressing yourself in an age appropriate way that has a level, a dash of maturity about it, but you don't need to act like you're stilted in some way or trying to be overly professional. You need to be professional within the naturalness of professionalism for you. And that looks different for every contestant. I mean, some contestants, their professionalism looks very polished and very sleek and very sophisticated. Other contestants, their professionalism looks clean, but it also is playful. For other, you know, everybody's different when it comes to the way that they choose to be professional. Some people are, you know, viciously professional, but wickedly funny, right? And so that's part of who they are. That's part of their character, their personality. That's the side of you that the judges can't find on paper. You have to reveal that when you step inside the interview room. You have to help them see that as they pose their questions and as you react and respond to those. So if you have a wicked sense of humor, and if you have a sophisticated and polished mannerism about you, some women are super chill and super laid back in their professionalism. They're just unflappable. And some women that I've worked with, they're like attached to a motor, like an engine. They just go, 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 go. And they speak so rapidly and have so much to say, and they think so fast because they're so bright. Their brains are just wired to race. And so, you know, people are like, well, slow down. Well, no, because in terms of how, when you listen to something like on Audible, right? When you listen to a book, why do we have 1.5, 2.0 speed? Because we can listen to things faster than we can watch things. Your brain can assimilate that information. So do we need to slow down in interview in order to accommodate the listener? No, not one bit. As long as you're enunciating clearly and your words aren't all running together, the judges will keep pace with you. They absolutely will. The more quickly you can process information and share of yourself with them, the more rapidly they will ask questions. The more questions you're going to get, the faster the interview goes, the synergy's happening. I mean, this is a rhythm that we can get into with a judges panel if they'll keep up with you. And if you have a panel of live wire judges, they will keep up with you. So don't be afraid to push it. Go for it. Everybody's a little bit different. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so professionalism. What does professionalism look like? And also, I'll just say, a really professional woman is a magician. Magician's the wrong word. She's an artist at being able to make other people feel comfortable. And that is the gift of her professionalism and her class and her warmth. So if we are looking at being conversational, I would wrap that into the generosity of being, you are conversational if you are professional. Like, those two go hand in hand. Being professional, again, should not feel stilted. It should feel warm and gracious and engaging. And that kind of professionalism, that, you know, then you can be the 50-year-old news anchor if you want to. I mean, she's the gal who sits on the nightly news and you welcome her into your living room. because she's so warm and she's so gracious and she's so classy, and you just think, oh, I can't wait to sit down and hear so-and-so share the news with me tonight because I so enjoy listening to her, and she's just such a classy professional gal. But it's not because she's fake or phony, it's because she's so warm and gracious and conversational, right? I mean, that can be really attractive when someone is sharing information with you and it comes across in a conversational way. I mean, how much more fun is it to hear that in that manner than to have someone talk at you and talk above you because they're trying to be professional? That's not appealing. So the judges are going to go with the woman who makes them feel most comfortable and most at ease, and they will point her higher, because if you can relax, then they can relax. And now we're having a conversation, right? You want to be the gal that they'd like to take out to coffee, that they'd like to spend more time visiting with, and not with the gal who feels more like a talking head that doesn't really have any personality. So I would say lean toward conversational with a dash of maturity and class, and that will get you to the professionalism that you want to have, because we are applying for a job through the course of this interview, but we're not so professional that we're cold. Okay. All right. That's enough on that one. All right. Okay. Is this about only what the judges want? So, for example, what if you had a judge's critique, or someone told you that the judges prefer something? So they prefer a type of wardrobe, or they prefer a type of hairstyle. This used to be a bigger deal in the past than it is today, because people used to really get hung up on, judges really want, the title holder to look like this. And so I would say that judges are not, well, first, let's step away from even looking at the judges, because that is one of the mistakes that contestants tend to make, is worrying about the judgments that people are making on them, including the judges. Now, how can I say, on the one hand, that I want you to be the most natural version of you, and then tell you that you have to do something that's not natural for you and that you don't even really like, but the judges will like it, so you should probably do it? I can't say that. That's hypocrisy. I can't say that. So the truth is, sometimes people do pageant for different reasons. Sometimes we do pageant because we want to apply for the job of Miss Title Holder. Sometimes we do pageant because we want the experience of going through this incredible experience to learn all the things that you learn inside of pageantry. I mean, there's no better finishing school for women today than participating in a pageant system, certain pageant systems anyway. They're great for learning tools of hosting and graciousness and how to dress, style, class, elegance, how to carry yourself, how to walk well in certain wardrobe and in heels, how to graciously present a performing arts talent, how to engage interpersonally and make the art of making small conversation with people. Like, there's nothing better than participating in pageant to gain all of those incredible skills. That doesn't mean that you should conform to a judge's expectations. The wonderful thing about pageant is it can be wonderfully cathartic for you to be able to take something up on stage that you have to share, or take something inside the interview room that you've maybe never had the chance to talk about with anyone, and the judges are an opportunity for you to share honestly, naturally, from your heart, about whatever this may be. And I have seen women use the stage for all manner of different reasons, not because they were in the least concerned about what the judges thought. So I would advise any young woman against trying to model herself into an image that she thinks the judges would prefer, I would instead advise you, and I'll just give you a quick example of this when this actually has worked out. We've seen this work out on the Miss America stage, okay? We just had a Miss America for the first time win the national competition doing her story, okay? It's first time. She was different, right? We had a Miss America win the national competition performing cups on stage. That was different. Miss America stage has seen a lot of opera singers, a lot of classically trained dancers, a lot of musicians, different artists of different kinds, a lot of baton, right, over the years. Cups, never seen cups before. She was different, not conforming. She was being herself. Let's see, what else can I talk about from the national stage that we've seen do really well that isn't, that's the one I was going to share. Okay, so this is way back in my time. Kate Shendel, I have Miss America 1999, I think, 98 or 99. I think it might have been 98. She was the first contestant to ever wear a bikini that was boy shorts. And they had like this real athletic look to the whole bikini, the whole swimsuit. It was a two-piece, but it had boy shorts and it had this stripe down the side. And it had, anyway, look her up, Kate Shendel. And everybody was used to the typical Miss America swimsuit. And here comes Kate Shendel, and she's got this completely different look. No glamour suits, no shiny, sheeny swimsuit, no extra padding, none of that. None of the stuff that the Miss America system was accustomed to. She looked completely different from what anyone would have expected, and the judges loved it. The judges loved it because she was unique. She was true to herself. And so if you are thinking that you need to conform in some way to what you're assuming a judge would want, then I would push back on that. I would push back on that and say, you need to be you. And if you is, I've seen girls come up on stage with different colors in their hair. It used to be that we would cover up tattoos. Not today. Women don't do that today. They show their tattoos. There's a lot of different things that women have brought to the stage over the years that would have been unexpected. And now it's not, because it was unexpected, either it was them being true to themselves and using the stage with their own leadership to make their own statement about who they are and what they're all about. And so then that leads the way for women of the future to be able to make their own stand. And why do we call you empowered women if you're just trying to be the same cookie cutter version as who somebody else was several years ago? Be empowered to be the truest version of yourself. And you may have people, the other thing that I want to say is I want you to be respectful to those who are in leadership in your program. So if you have a local director or a state director who is advising you and they say, yeah, we're not going to allow that, well, then they're not going to allow that. We do follow the rules and we do submit to the authority that is above us. They're running the pageant, they're running the show. If you don't like what their rules are, then choose a different program to run in. There are many, right? We don't have to limit ourselves, or go ahead and abide by their recommendations, their rules. I had many opportunities to disagree with directors over the years when I was a contestant, and sometimes I did it graciously, and other times I butted heads, and I needed to humble myself a bit in a few instances. And so I would never encourage a young lady to challenge her director, but I would certainly encourage a young woman to speak in an impassioned, empowered way about her why. Why do I want to have pink hair in the pageant? Why am I not going to dye my hair brown to compete in this pageant? Why do I want to wear this fitness outfit? Why do I want to show my tattoo? Why, speak for yourself, use your voice. And if there is a limitation or a rule or a guideline that causes your local director to say, not here, then say, okay, I will abide by that. Because you know what? If they have rules now and then you win and you think you're not going to abide by their rules, well, then why are you applying for this job in the first place? You're going to hate the whole experience, right? And it's not because they're trying to oppress you. It's just that they have a standard. They have their rules. They have their guidelines. They have the way they run their program. This is a volunteer organization for the most part. Most of these entities, if you're competing in pageant, are staffed almost completely by volunteers, not paid staff. And so you have the obligation to be gracious to someone who's volunteering their time to help you out. So I would never, ever encourage a young woman, please don't hear me wrongly, to push back against the leadership, but I would challenge you to be able to think outside the box of what you've seen on stage in the past or what you're assuming a judge would want. And I want you to be the best version of you. I want you to choose to be yourself and bring that authentically to the stage, whatever that may look like. And within the guidelines of what your program is allowing. And again, if they're disallowing something, they might have a good reason for it. And so maybe get curious in your conversation with them about why. And frankly, their reason may be because this is the way we've always done it. So, and that's okay too. All right, so that's all I have time for today. And we will get back to more questions and more pageant prep tips tomorrow. All right, we'll see you soon.